collectible or die try for another episode of The Spoiler Room. So if you haven't read any of these comics we have here, don't watch because we're gonna spoil it. We're gonna talk about these comics. We're gonna let you know that we have currently some bad idea going on.
Yeah. Oh, these are all bad ideas.
Well, except Lucky Devil.
Okay, except
Lucky Devil's from Image Comics.
Okay.
And then we have Bad Idea comic, #1, The Pirate Queen.
Pirate Queen, yes.
And then after we do these, we're gonna get into The Lie, also from Bad Idea.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into a little backstory about Bad Idea that we discovered. We discovered. So if you guys are not aware of Bad Idea Comic Studio, I wasn't aware that it was a studio that was closing. I just got wind of this by doing a little bit of research on Bad Idea Studios because I was wondering how to get my hands on some other Bad Idea comics.
Yeah, like if there was a second one to this.
Like if there was a second one,
really
or
like this one.
or when the second one would be coming out, and so on and so forth. But what the problem is that they're rare, are they not?
Yeah, Bad Idea. Didn't they only allow certain people to publish or sell them?
I guess to distribute or sell them.
Okay.
So it's not like you could go to your local comic shop and buy Bad Idea comics.
Buy Bad Idea.
Yeah, you can't. They're very limited. You'll probably find maybe 1 in 10 comic stores that may be selling Bad Idea comics.
And even if you do find a comic store that sells Bad Idea comics, you can't get if they're from the same series. So let's say there was 5 issues of these, you can only get 1 issue.
It's 1 per customer. That's all they're gonna allow you to take.
Yeah, that.
So it's not like you could go into the comic book store and grab 3 issues of Pirate Queen #1. You can't do that. They're not gonna allow it. They're only gonna allow 1 per customer. So not only are these comics rare, hard to find and hard to get, but I also discovered that the studio's closing its doors.
Right.
So
that just makes it more.
I think by the end of this year would be Kaplooey. Is that a word? Kaplooey?
Kaplooey is not a word.
It's a word. Kaplooey is now a word.
That's an onomatopoeia.
What the hell is an onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia.
Is that even a word?
Yeah, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. It's a type of figurative language.
Oh.
Onomatopoeia. Okay, so in comics when there's those big things and it's bam, kapow.
Kaboom!
Yeah, kaboom, whatever. That's onomatopoeia.
That's an onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia is a word for a sound. So boom, that's onomatopoeia.
Oh, so make sure when you editing you put an onomatopoeia here.
Onomatopoeia. Right. It's gonna go kapsh.
Yeah.
There you go.
So anyway, Bad Idea is closing their doors.
Yeah.
So by the end of the year, there ain't gonna be no more Bad Idea comics, and you're not gonna be able to get them. Mm-hmm. So my question is, are they really closing their doors, or is this just a promotional get-up for people to go out and buy these comics or get their hands on these comics, like a way to sell them and put them out there?
Probably both.
Nonetheless, it's gonna make the comics rare. But my thing is, I think rarity shouldn't be the only reason why a comic is bought or goes up in price. Is it really good? Is the art good? Is the writing good?
And that's what we're gonna get.
And that's what we're gonna get into today. So basically, let's start with the Pirate Queen. Let's start with Pirate Queen.
I liked Pirate Queen.
I love Pirate Queen too.
Yeah, it was good.
I went into Bad Idea Comics, Pirate Queen, with an open mind and said I'm gonna give it a try, especially since I found it in my local comic store. And I was like, oh wow, I haven't seen any Bad Idea comics anywhere. It's the first time I laid eyes on them. So I was like, let me grab these issues now, because who knows when I'll be able to grab these issues. So I grabbed Pirate Queen. I came home, we read it. And how do you feel about Pirate Queen?
I liked it. The story was compelling. The art was cool. And what did you say when we first read it? You were like, it drew you in, kind of. I forgot what the word was. You said something. And I was like,
I was drawn in, not by the artwork. I can't say that the artwork was extravagant or beautiful, but
I just liked it because of the style.
The style. I like the
style was great.
Story was great. So
story was great,
let's get into the story. So we have this pirate queen who was born
on a Sunday, but because her father was drunk, he named her Monday.
He named her Monday. Her name is Monday.
Yeah.
Which
is a nice name.
That, I guess. I mean, but it's
Monday.
a funny way to come up with a name, I guess.
Right.
You know, hey, it's the pirate life.
Yeah, got drunk.
You get drunk, and he was drunk, named his kid Monday. You know, so I mean that was cool. But the whole story plays out. She's a pirate, you know, and she meets this guy named Lynn.
Yeah.
He's an Asian pirate.
A lot of pirates are Asian, actually.
Really?
Historically.
Really?
Historically, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's Asian, and they get really close, and she gets pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, a pirate's life isn't easy a life.
Yeah.
I mean,
she at the beginning, she's explaining how what's the name for it? Like, to be a woman pirate and everything is difficult, and the pirate life gets you killed really early on.
Right. Their life expectancy is very low.
Very low.
They don't live to see the age of 30, most pirates.
Right.
So.
And, she's like, for her baby, she doesn't want that. She's like, I want my baby to have a nice life. So her boyfriend Lynn is like, all right, bet. So they go and they try to dock their boat. At like a pirate friendly like home area.
Where only pirates go.
Yeah.
It's like a safe haven for pirates, because
if they
pirates are out there on the sea, they're wanted criminals.
Yeah, they're not.
They're
safe
hunted down.
Because they're not safe because of the Spanish and the British.
And the British Armada. Mm-hmm.
Armada?
Yeah.
Is that what the word is?
I guess so. Wasn't it the British Armada that caught up with them?
I think it was. Anyways, it's not safe for them just because, you know, boats and waves and everything. So they go to dock, but when they dock, the British Armada, they like ambush them and take a whole bunch of them prisoner.
They capture her entire crew and pirate fleet.
And
they capture them. In
history, if a pirate was caught, they were immediately hung in front of people.
They were hung. They were hung on display for people to see.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be a pirate, this is what your life is gonna be. Yeah. This is the pirate life. You're gonna get hung.
That was like the whole thing. And she ends up like right when they're about to hang her and her husband,
Lynn. His name's Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
When they're about to hang Lynn and her, she says that the British made like a law kind of thing where they won't hang any pregnant women. So she's like, I'm pregnant, y'all can't hang me.
She blurts it out right when they're about to get hung.
Right.
She blurts it out, I'm pregnant, and it's like,
and
you can't hang me.
You can't hang her.
You can't hang me because I'm pregnant.
Yeah,
you know?
so they take her off of the thing, and then she says, one more thing, I don't want my baby to grow up fatherless.
She pleads for her husband.
Yeah, and
she pleads for his life. She's like, you know, don't kill him. You know, I don't want my child to grow up without a father.
And then this British dude with fucked up teeth.
and he does have messed up teeth. There's a whole panel. There is a whole panel in the comic that they do a close-up on his grin and his teeth. And man, they are messed up. They're totally messed up. It's like it's like they completely agree that British people have some messed up teeth.
Anyways, he says that the only way he would save the husband and not hang him was if she ended up laying with him. And she was like, well, gotta do what I gotta do to help my husband.
To save my husband.
And Lynn was like...
But she did go to Lynn while he was in prison and told him, I could save your life. You have a chance of living, but this is what I gotta do. And he wasn't with it. He was like, no, you know, this is the pirate life. We don't do stuff like that. Yeah. You know, I don't want you to do it. But she was fixated on saving his life, and she went ahead and did it. She did it. You know?
in the morning, she comes out of like the, what's it called? The captain, whatever.
The captain's cabin.
There you go.
Captain's cabin.
She comes out of that
area,
ship. And on the deck, her husband is hung.
Yep. Her husband and the other crewmates were hung. They were dead. They were just hanging there. And let me tell you, you read Pirate Queen before I did.
Yeah,
so
I read it first.
You was gradually waiting there for me to turn that page.
Because I was reading over his shoulder, and when I saw he was on the page, I was like,
right. And I flipped that page, and my jaw dropped. Yeah. I'm telling you, my jaw dropped. And when I read comics, it's very hard to get surprised when you read comics. And I was surprised because I was not expecting this scenario to go like this.
Yeah.
And it did. And when I turned that page, my jaw dropped. And I was there with my mouth open. And you was just there like,
yeah.
Yep.
It was shocking.
It was shocking.
Really
it was.
See that. And he was like, oh, well, you weren't as good as I expected you to be. So
Yeah, what a dick. He was like, what they say about pirate women laying in bed is it basically is a crock of shit. And, you know, you was a disappointment, so I hung your husband anyway.
Right, and it's just like, really?
Yeah, it was so, oh man, it was so hardcore.
And then after he hangs Lynn, you want to know what he does? He sends her off the ship. He puts her on like a wooden pallet and just lets her.
He freaking Titanics her in the middle of the ocean on a wooden plank, on a small wooden plank with no water, no food, nothing. Just leaves her in the middle of the ocean.
She's like explaining how she like this.
You're having dog issues here.
She's on the wooden pallet and she's like, oh, I want my child to be born in a world where the father's death was avenged.
Yeah. And
so
she says, I'm not going to die regardless of what happens. She's going to find a way.
She says she has a reason to live, unlike other pirates, and that she is going to live.
Right.
And then that's how
it ends. Yeah. That's basically how it ends. And I am stoked for issue 2. I want to get my hands on issue 2 to see how this. It's a revenge plot. I'm dying to see how she's gonna go about not only getting revenge,
but
surviving what she's going through right now in this moment. She's in the middle of the ocean on a floating plank of wood with no food, no water, and I'm dying to see how she's gonna get out of this situation. You know, I'm hoping another pirate ship just happens to go by her and pick her up, or who knows what's gonna happen. I don't know, but
for the second issue,
I thought it was great. It was a great issue.
At the end of this comic, they had a short story.
Oh, yes.
You liked the short story.
Yes. So all right. So I'm gonna say this right off the bat. Not all Bad Idea comics were great, but I did find myself enjoying the short stories in the back of the comic at the end more than the actual comic itself. They were super good.
For me, I didn't really like the short story for this. Wasn't that great. I wasn't really stoked about the short story for this one.
So now, these short stories don't really have names.
Yeah,
they're just short stories, and it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys would know this, but it kind of reminds me of old school Creep Show or Twilight Zone short stories. That's the feel I got from them, and I think they're great. Whether or not they're gonna expand on these stories later, or maybe every other issue or every issue will have a different story, I don't know. But the short stories are good, and the short story in this one. So there was a short story in the back when Pirate Queen ends, and it starts with a guy on a beach, right?
Yeah.
So he's on a beach on a remote planet, alien planet.
Yeah.
So it's an alien planet.
It's like an alien planet.
It's like an alien planet somewhere, and he has this device, and this device is called the Builder.
Yeah.
So this device is called the Builder, and I don't know what his purpose on the planet was. I can't really remember what his purpose on the planet was, but it turns out he was there. He finds himself on the beach. He uses this device to build a hut or something around him.
Yeah, it was like a cube.
A cube of some sort.
Made of cubes.
I guess to protect them, because there was these ravaged dog-like alien creatures.
Yeah, and they only come out at night because they're
And they
in
only
the sun.
right, so they only come out at night. So he basically barricaded himself in this cube made by this device called the Builder to, I guess, not die, right?
Yeah, because he was like, I only have to survive until the morning.
Until the morning.
I'm guessing most of the alien life is only out at night.
Only comes out at night.
Yeah.
So he survives. These things scratch and gnaw to get at him in this cube the entire night, but they don't make it through. They end up dying because of the sunlight. Then he finds himself, I guess, trying to survey this planet.
Yeah.
And he falls into this black hole and he gets ravaged by these other creatures. And
is that how that was?
Yeah. He finds this manhole and he decides to climb down. And he climbs down and he ends up fighting these creatures. And he gets clawed up really bad. And he ends up finding his way out, but releasing the survey module to evacuate, to get off the planet, for them to come pick him up.
He was like, tell them that I'm dying.
Right, because he dies.
Yeah, and then it sent off and they got the message, I guess. And they were like, well, he's dead.
And they got the message and they didn't seem like they cared at all. And the reason why they didn't care was because the people they're sending down to survey these planets are prisoners.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, it's such a shame because he was on his
10th mission.
Yeah, it was his 10th mission.
It was his 10th mission.
And he was also on his last I think couple months of his sentence.
Right. Or maybe if they do a certain amount of missions and survive, they'll let him free.
Maybe.
Sort of.
I mean, know. They don't expand.
They don't really expand on the short story. I guess you could kind of make out the events in the story and come up with your own ending, I guess, or whether or not they're going to expand on the story, I don't know.
I don't think so.
But it was good nonetheless, was it not?
It was okay.
I mean, it was okay. It was good. I mean, there are better ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are better ones.
They're better ones.
All right.
It's a short story.
It's a short story,
What do you
right?
expect?
So Pirate Queen, from Bad Idea.
Show it to the camera.
If you happen to come across them, I say pick it up. It's a good buy. It's a good read. They're very hard. I'm pretty sure there's a website for Bad Idea where you could pre-order Bad Idea comics, where they send them to your local comic shop, because I think there may be only a small amount of comics that they may ship them to. So, I mean, depending on what your location is, I guess. Yeah, check it out. I recommend it.
The next
series. The next series, Lucky Devil number 1 and number 2. So we got number 1 and number 2 here. This is Dark Horse Comics by Cullen Bunn. Dark Horse Comics. And let's get into issue number 1. How'd you feel about issue 1?
Issue 1 was a slow start.
It was a slow start. It was to me it was more of a introduction to the character, because I don't know about you, but to me it made me feel like they want you to feel very sorry for Stanley.
That was his name.
His name was Stanley. Exactly. Stanley? His name is Stanley. And Stanley was what type of person?
Okay, I'm gonna
Stanley is a character in himself. Really. He is.
So, you know when you're walking down the street and you see,
here it comes.
And you see that guy walking the other way. You're walking this way, he's walking this way. And he looks miserable. He
hates his life. He
just looks miserable, and he's trudging along. Yeah. And you look at him, he has the sunken in eyes and everything. Yeah. He just looks dead.
He looks like he's 5 minutes away of giving up and committing suicide. He does.
That's not funny.
He does. He is tired of his fucking life. He is tired of his life.
He looks really bad. And basically they introduce him and he's like, hey, I work in this. He's like a coffee assistant.
He's like an assistant. All he does is get people's coffee and food breakfast and lunch and stuff.
And a big office building.
Yeah, because there's 3 pages of panels of people just sending him text messages of what they want for breakfast,
yeah,
what they want for lunch, and him going out and getting these things, and people pretty much just spitting on him like, oh, you didn't get this, oh, you didn't get that, and oh, you're useless.
He's got a pretty horrible life, really.
He does.
He works in this office building. He just gets people their drinks and everything. They treat him horribly, and then he comes home and he has his...
He has a girlfriend. He actually has a girlfriend.
Girlfriend or wife? Girlfriend. It was girlfriend.
It was girlfriend.
It was girlfriend. Okay.
And to be real honest with you, from looking at her, she looked way out of his league.
I don't know how. Okay,
she looked way out of his league. I don't know how he scored this lady to begin with, but nonetheless, he scored this woman. But it wasn't a surprise.
She's cheating.
It wasn't a surprise that she's cheating. As soon as he gets up and he leaves for work,
it's not even discreet in any way.
He knows about it. He knows about it.
He knows, and he's like, oh. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do because this is the best thing that she's the best thing that's ever happened to him. So he feels like I gotta do what I gotta do to keep her because this is the only thing I got going good for me.
Right.
And that's misery in itself. That's just miserable to think that you know what, I gotta deal with this just because this is the only good thing I have in life. You know, like if it was left to me, I'd dump her and get a dog. Say hi to Jazzy. We have Jazzy here. This is Jazzy, too snazzy. All right,
get out of here.
All right.
Get out of here.
So Stanley lives this. It's not even a practical life, honestly. It's just a miserable, sad life. This is Stanley's life.
He's not living good.
He's not living good at all. And something happens that I think he takes as a miracle. At first, it's not.
At
first it's not.
At
because
first he's not having a good time.
All right, so he ends up getting possessed by this demon, right?
Yeah.
What was the demon's name? Zed? Was it Zed?
And it was Zed, but it was longer. Like Zed was the nickname.
Yeah, Zed was the nickname. It was a longer name for this demon, but it was basically, in short, this demon's name is Zed. Mm-hmm. And Zed possesses Stanley. And now, not only does he possess him, but he pretty much takes Stanley over, right?
That's what possesses.
All right, well, but you know when you watch possessions in movies, it's like, oh, they're bedridden and they're in bed and they're doing exorcisms and stuff, but he becomes this demon.
They're not usually bedridden. The only reason they're in the bed is because the exorcist is coming over and going.
They're gonna perform an exorcism on him. Anyway, yeah.
He's possessed and he ends up, whenever Zed wants, he takes over and just kills people.
Well, he does more than that. He just does a whole lot of random bad stuff. Like
he just massacres people.
Yeah, and he gets what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. You know,
and he has friends and everything too.
Yeah, he has friends and he's popular, and you know, like this demon is living his life through Stanley's body, pretty much.
Yeah.
But there are times where the demon has to go back to sleep.
Yeah, he
and
goes to sleep.
Stanley comes back, and to me, Stanley is aware of all the shit that Zed does, and he's ashamed and embarrassed.
He can't control it, but he's aware of it. And when he comes, like after Zed goes to sleep and he has to deal with it himself, he's just guilty. He's guilty. He feels horrible about it.
And he looks 10 times worse than what he did before.
Yeah, he looks horrible.
He looks like melted ice cream. Like, his face is all sunken and pale, and like he looks nasty.
And he gets tired of it, and he goes to like a dollar store exorcist. Really?
Yeah, pretty much. He goes to he pretty much does. He decides, I want to get an exorcism.
Yeah.
And he goes to this bootleg dollar shop exorcism spot where he meets this shaman, right?
Yeah.
Or voodoo doctor.
Yeah, I'd say
or a voodoo doctor.
He had like a shop and everything. He's like, "Hey, dude, I need an exorcist." And the guy's like, "That's a lot of money."
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. He's like, "Here's all I got," which wasn't a lot of money.
It really wasn't.
And the voodoo doctor was like, "Well, man, I'm gonna have to do some cutbacks on this exorcism.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna do the best one because you know,
because he doesn't have enough.
You don't have enough money.
He takes whatever he could get, and they're about to do the exorcism. They do it, and then it ends.
And it doesn't really end. It doesn't really end. He ends up. Well, yeah, it pretty much ends after that, and then it goes into issue 2.
Yeah, it ends after he gets the exorcism, and then it goes into issue 2.
Right.
That's why we said like this one's just more of an introduction
It's
to
more
the characters.
it's more introduction to the character. Yeah.
This one is when it actually gets into what's supposed to be going
right.
on.
So in this issue is basically showing you how pathetic and miserable Stanley really is. And I guess, you know, with Zed taking over his body, he's the cool, hip, you know, death-dealing demon. So,
yeah, he's all cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, and then after he gets the exorcism done, it goes into issue 2.
And
It gets into issue 2.
It starts off,
and
issue 2.
Yeah.
It starts off with him going to like, it looks like an AA meeting, but it's like a possession meeting.
It's like
people who were possessed.
Yeah,
before.
people who was possessed before, like, or who've had this experience.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like when people gather and go to AA meetings, or people who gather who've been abducted by aliens, and
that's not an actual thing.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. If it is, comment below. I'm pretty sure you know about it. Yes, you do. If you've been abducted by aliens and you go to meetings, tell us so we can go and visit.
We're gonna go over there. Hey, how was it?
So you can go and visit. Yeah, because I want to go to one of these meetings. I want to hear the stories.
You were never abducted though.
Yeah, it don't matter. I could go just to, you know, hear people's stories. That'd be great. That'd be great. But anyway, so he goes to these meetings and it's time for him to talk about.
Yeah, and he's like, I did horrible things.
I
did
did horrible things. And there's a girl in there. I can't remember her name. Oh God. The one that was always next to him throughout the rest of the issue. She followed him and everything. So yeah, there's a female in there.
Wasn't her name D or something like that? D-E-E?
Was it D or V? I think it was D. It was D. All right, so
I think it's D.
Yeah, and D's kind of like shooting him down, like, yeah, you know, we all done horrible things, you know?
Right.
But it starts going into the horrible stuff Stanley has done,
right? Like,
while he's possessed with Zed.
Yeah.
And
then it's like halfway through him telling his story, he starts getting into this power-hungry kind of rant. Right.
So in the beginning, we're not aware, but we finally get aware to the fact that after the exorcism happened, he got rid of Zed, and Zed is stuck in the human world.
Right. With no powers.
He's powerless. And Stanley ended up with all the demon's powers.
Yeah.
But without the demon. So he got off pretty good, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And we see I don't know about you, but I've seen the character change in Stanley. Because to be real honest with you, from issue 1 to issue 2, there was a big change in Stanley. He seemed, I don't even want to say confident in himself. He was more cocky and devious.
In issue 1, he was a loser.
Yeah.
But in issue 2, like that's the simple way to put it. But
it was complete 360.
Actually, it's 180.
Yeah, actually, it is 180. 360, yeah. So he did a complete 180. Yeah. Thank you for the correction.
You are welcome.
He did a complete 180.
Right. And this one, he's like cocky. He's power hungry.
Yeah.
He's like, I can get you what you want.
Yeah.
I'm so cool. And he even looks better.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, he looks healthier. You know, he doesn't look like how he looked before. You know what I mean? Because before he looked like he was literally dying. He did. And in this one, he seemed a little bit more. He seemed a little bit more healthier. And there was even a page where he's at this meeting, right? But the meeting's no longer about people talking about what they've been through. It turns into a cult. Does it not?
Yeah.
Where they start following and praising him.
Basically, this guy, Stanley, he's like, I can promise you to get you what you want because this world is horrible.
Right.
I can get you whatever you need. I'm cool.
I'm cool, but what it is that he relates to these people because he used to be like them.
Yeah.
He used to be shitted on and treated bad and stuff like that, but he's not like that no more. And he's saying, now I can help you be more like me.
Right. It's like one of those, you know those like motivational speaker things?
Yeah.
And they're like, I used to be so sad in my life.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
I started meditating, and everybody in the theater is like, meditation. That was it.
Yeah, and he's got a following.
Yeah.
People are following him.
He gets a pretty big following.
He gets a pretty big following. He literally starts a cult.
Yeah, he ends up getting a house and throwing a party kind of thing.
Oh wait. Wasn't there was a part during the meeting where somebody tries to kill him.
Oh yeah.
Now,
this guy was like, "You're not an actual demon."
Yeah, you're a demon, blah blah blah. He pulls out a gun and tries to shoot him, but Stanley got powers. He put a stop to that. And in front of everybody, he
tore off all of the guy's skin, and he was just muscle.
Tore off his skin.
And then after he was done making an
example,
demonstration.
Oh yeah, that's what he said. A demonstration. Yeah.
Genius, really. he put the skin back on him.
Yeah, he put the skin back on.
But the guy just like collapses.
But after that display, he didn't kill the guy.
He didn't kill him.
He didn't kill the guy. He had remorse. He did have remorse for him. Like,
He didn't kill him.
He
just caused years of trauma and therapy. And also, we're not going to mention the fact that he literally had no skin for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But he definitely showed remorse.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, he could have killed him. At least his powers didn't go to his head far enough to be like, you know what, I'm just going to destroy and kill him for trying to kill me.
Actually, I feel like him killing him and him torturing him is actually completely different than what you're saying. I feel like if he killed him, it would have been more that the power isn't going to his head than it was if he was torturing him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I have a reason, and there's a very big reason, but I'm not going to rant about it now. That would just make the video 10 hours longer.
Yeah, so he ends up buying this house with D.
Yeah.
He ends up buying this house, and isn't there something special about this house though?
It's not really that it's special. It's that this guy who used to, it's kind of like, this guy who used to be a serial killer, he used to live in the house.
Was he a serial killer?
Yeah, the guy was a serial killer.
Was he a serial killer or did he have a cult?
The guy was a serial killer. He was a serial killer and he killed a whole bunch of people and he had a cult and everything and he was like, whatever.
And he used this house, right?
And he used the house and that's why he got the house.
And that's why he bought the house.
He got this house, he threw a party and there was like this guy that was like, hey, I know what you're doing and I want to collaborate with you because I work with the Church of Satan or whatever.
Yeah, I guess he's a Satanist.
Yeah, and
he's a Satanist.
I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to end up going on a rant, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay,
what?
Basically, Satanism isn't actually the worship of Satan. Satanism is actually historically not related to Satan at all. It's actually related to worshiping yourself and your body and your self-rights. It's a common misconception. And because Christianity and Catholic and everything had such a tight grip on everybody back in like the 1800s, Satanism was they used the they used the logo of Satan just to ward them off and be like, yeah, y'all get out of here. Because they never actually worshiped Satan. They actually had a lot of...
So that kind of makes sense because in a way, that's what Stanley's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of what he's doing. It's just he's taking the literal version of actually worship Satan.
He's not putting Satan behind it.
Right. He's not really putting Satan behind it. He's putting himself as an all-seeing, all-worshipping kind of thing.
But nonetheless, you still have this guy who says who
says he works with the Church of Satan.
Right.
So he works with the Church of Satan and everything. And he's like, hey, I want to collaborate with you. Right. We can have like a truce kind of thing.
He wants to do an Instagram collaboration.
Right. He's like,
collab.
Let's promote our product.
Yeah, let's promote together. We can do this.
Yeah, and then Stanley's like, hold that thought, and he goes upstairs. Yeah. Like I was saying, it like cuts to the underworld, I'm guessing, and there's a whole bunch of demons crawling out saying that Stanley's a faker and they're gonna get him and he's gonna pay for what he stole. Yeah, pretender.
He's a pretender. He's a pretender.
And then that's where it ends.
And that's where it ends. So to me, it just falls in the point of where now I guess all these demons and these people are gonna hunt and come after Stanley.
Right. They're like coming after him.
They're gonna come after him.
Oh, Stanley.
Like, we're gonna take back what you took because you don't deserve it. You're not supposed to have it.
Right.
And that right there is
where
Lucky Devil
issue
2 ends, and that's Lucky Devil. All in all, thought it was good.
Yeah,
I
it was
enjoyed
good.
it. You know, like you said, it was a slow start, but it finished strong.
Right.
And I'm curious to see what happens next. I'm curious to see how Zed's gonna get his powers back, and how Stanley fights back, and how he utilizes his powers.
For me, if you got the third issue, if I was bored, I might read it. Like, it was good, but I don't think I would be like, I need to get issue 2.
Issue 3, yeah. I got it.
Yeah. It's not the best thing ever, but it wasn't bad at all. Like, it was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
There you have it. There you have it. Lucky Devil. Boom.
And on the other
Cullen
hand,
Bunn. And on the other hand,
on
we're
that wonderful
back.
note with Lucky Devil,
we have
comes this one.
We have the lot.
Here, I'll show hand me issue 1.
Issue 1.
This is issue 1. Let me see issue 2.
Issue 2. Issue 3.
Here, wait, hold on. Okay. Issue 2 and issue 3. There you go. We're back to Bad Idea Studios.
I'm sorry. Issue 2, issue 3. I'm sorry. That was my mistake.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
there
3.
You go.
Yeah. So we got the lot from Bad Idea. This was actually my first Bad Idea purchase. So
I'm gonna start off.
Go ahead, kick it off.
A strong,
kick it off,
strong thing.
You struggled.
I didn't like this at all. I hated it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I struggled reading all 3 of these. I'm gonna be completely honest here. You don't know this. I'm gonna be completely honest. I read issue 1. I read halfway through issue 2, and then I dropped it. I didn't finish it.
Really? You didn't finish it?
I didn't finish it. I couldn't.
Oh man.
I couldn't. It was. I just.
Yeah.
Okay. What was I saying? With Lucky Devil, I wanted to get I want to know about the next one. I want to know how he fights off the demons.
Every issue prior to reading the lot, it leaves you with I want to know what happens next.
Right.
I'm interested in seeing how this story progresses.
Right. But
the lot does not do that.
It's just after this issue, it's like, okay.
All right. Yeah. And now let's get it.
I want to hear your thoughts on this because I didn't read it.
All right. So yeah, I too struggled to get through this read. I wasn't a big fan. I'm not saying it's horrible because the progression was slow, but it gets better. But it didn't wow me. It didn't catch me like, oh man, I gotta see what happens in the next issue. You know, it didn't get me like that. And let's talk about the art. Now, there is a Walking Dead feel to it because you have a lot of black and white going on.
Yeah.
But see, what the difference is the colors. See, Walking Dead, when you read Walking Dead, it's sketched.
It's okay. Here, I'm an artist, so I know things. That's me being arrogant. I'm an artist,
right.
So I know things. But with The Walking Dead, it's light shading, it's sketching, it's like pencil strokes. But with this, it seems like they did it with charcoal, and they had very deep shadows.
Dark, really dark.
Really dark shadows.
It's very dark. Like they were going for a dark, ominous, and they hit that, but it made
too much.
They did it too much. It made Aviva became CEO. They gave her a promotion, and we were talking about how it was all a ruse, right?
It wasn't a ruse. It was just that they wanted to profit off of her failure.
There you go. Bam. They wanted to profit off her failure. Exactly. They didn't think that she could do it.
Yeah.
They really didn't think that she could do it. And they didn't mention to her the backstory to the lot.
Even though I read it, I don't understand the backstory. I was confused when they were trying to explain the backstory.
Okay, so I'm gonna break it down. Let me see. So basically what happened was the director in the past, and they had this studio, and the director in the past wanted to become famous. He wanted the fame, the glitz, and the glamour. So what he did was, and what the crew did was, they found this cult, right? They found this cult that worshipped a demon. And I think in issue 2, we find out the name of the demon was the Binder. Yeah, he had a corny name for a demon. He's called the Binder. Now, what the Binder does, he makes contracts to give you what you want. And they feed off this so he can open up, I guess, the gates of hell to earth. Okay? So all of these crew members, the director, the actor, the producer, and everybody all make contracts. But in order to complete the contract and get what you want, there has to be a sacrifice.
So
Now, the sacrifice could either be in blood or love. So you either have to sacrifice by killing somebody, blood,
yeah.
or sacrifice a loved one.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it was. So she's uncovering this because the former CEO who gave her the promotion, what was her name? Lauren, I believe. Lori.
I think, I don't know.
Gives her all the past files for the lot. She gives her all the past files and she's going through it and she's discovering all the stuff that happens, and then she ends up going to the first guy's house. And that's where she discovers the demon. And the demon, she saves him. And she goes about in the rest of the issue trying to save them. But she can't save them. And she decides, I don't even see why I should save them, because all these people were just about greed, glitz, and glamour. You know, and they're still trying to fulfill their contracts.
Okay.
So in the process of trying to fulfill the contracts, she's trying to save them, but she doesn't save them all. She doesn't save them all. The producer ends up dying. The producer ends up dying, and he's trying to fulfill his contract, right? So he feels bad. He doesn't want to sacrifice his wife, or he can't sacrifice his wife because he knows deep down inside he doesn't love her. So he tries this guy decides, I'm going to sacrifice my dog because I love my dog more than I love my wife.
The dog?
So he sacrifices his dog. He sacrifices his dog, but the demon's like, we're not going to take this to fulfill your contract. You know, and in the process of losing his dog, Aviva and him make this story up to make it seem like it was a break-in to the house. Somebody broke in, they killed his dog, and they robbed him, and that's what they told his wife. You know, and when they told her this, she was all flustered. She was like, oh my God, the dog, I love the dog, this and that. And in the process of watching her cry for the dog, he kind of ended up falling in love with his wife again, because he's seen, yeah, it sounds corny. He's seen how him and his wife actually had something in common for once.
The only reason I would, like, if I was you, the only reason I would get the fourth one, because the fourth one's supposed to be the last one, because it's like a 4.
Yeah, I think it's a 4-issue miniseries.
The only reason I would get the fourth one is just because I already have the first 3. I might as well just
you might as well complete the series.
Yeah.
I mean, but
like, if I run across it in a store, I would get the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, you barely got through issue 2, so
I couldn't.
Getting issue 4 would be
hard.
Meaningless if you can't get through the rest of the story.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, I wouldn't get it to read it, or like to I would just get it because I already have it.
So you're really big on storytelling because you write stories yourself.
So big on
you're really big on storytelling because you're a really good writer. You write a lot of stories. So
my problem
what was the problem with the story?
My problem is in the first one, when I was reading it, I felt like I was missing a lot of it. I was like I caught myself looking at the cover, making sure I'm reading issue 1 and not issue 2. Because I had no clue. Like, it wasn't like they really introduced anybody. It wasn't like they explained anything. It was just into it. And
it was just like, here's Aviva. We're going to give her a promotion, and we're giving you this lot. They didn't really break down the characters up until, like, the middle of issue 2.
And I didn't get
the middle of issue 2 is where they started talking about the producer, the actor,
right.
and what they wanted
And not only with the
in exchange for the
not only
contract.
with everything being all like, I just felt like I was missing a lot. It was also that the way the characters were speaking wasn't fluid at all. It was when I was
It
reading
seems staged.
When I was reading it, it seems like somebody was writing it. It seems like somebody that had like an English major in college was writing it. It didn't feel like I'm reading what people are saying.
All right. So I kind of get what you're saying, because a lot of the issues was more narrating
Yeah.
than it was actually speech from the characters.
Not really, because when the characters
And
were
the
speaking,
narrating didn't fit for me.
yeah.
The narrating didn't fit for me.
Okay, let's take Walking Dead for example. With Walking Dead, the way the characters communicate, they communicate like characters would communicate. Like
Yes.
like Negan communicates with Rick, like an
They
asshole communicating with another asshole.
They speak like people would speak.
Right.
Yeah.
The way the characters' dialogue is written is
Right.
written how people actually speak.
Right. Like
Same
you
thing
could,
with a lot of the books that I read. With
like
the
you
books,
you could look at characters, right? You could look at characters
And be like, I know exactly how
I
he
know
would speak.
exactly how he would speak, and in those speech bubbles, they would do the dialogue the way the character
Yeah.
would speak,
right. Like,
and I didn't see that in this with any of the characters.
With this, it was just very straightforward, perfect grammar kind of writing, and people don't speak with perfect grammar. The last time I heard somebody speak with perfect grammar, I wasn't interested in what they were saying. So it just felt like I was reading somebody's writing, and I don't. That's not what you're supposed to feel when you're reading a book or a comic.
And normally you could get past that
Yeah.
if you can engage with the art,
Right.
and like the art.
Yeah.
But since the art was so distracting, I couldn't get into the dialogue or the speech
And then,
bubbles and the
again,
characters.
with the books
It
that-
just threw me off.
With the books that I read, I have my books in this corner over here. These are all the books that I read. With the books that I read, the characters' dialogue is very much like it has some consonants taken out because that's not how they would say it because of their accent, or like
Right.
it has
Like take for
or
instance,
they won't say a certain word because that's just not what they say.
take for instance, if you got a character who's a Southern belle.
Okay, somebody with a southern accent.
Right.
Somebody with a southern accent would speak with a twang. Speak with a twang.
Yes.
That's how they speak.
Yeah.
Like, do a southern accent.
I can't do a Southern
Do it,
accent.
yes, you can.
I'm told I have a New York accent, and it's very different from.
Okay,
'Cause I get a lot of- I get
know
a lot of-
exactly how to do it. Okay.
I get a lot of comments like that here in the South.
Say
where
water.
Water.
You say water. If somebody was
Water.
writing and they wanted to highlight
Would you like
your
some water?
if they wanted to highlight your like accent, they would write water instead of water. If they really wanted to highlight your accent.
Right.
If
Right.
if like in Harry Potter, I'm reading Harry Potter right now. Don't ask. I'm reading Harry Potter right now. So with Hagrid, they write how he talks. Hagrid's very like
Yeah. So what we have here, what we have here is a failure to communicate. I'm sorry.
like I was saying, I just remember what I was saying before
Go ahead.
it stopped. Yeah, so in Harry Potter, Hagrid, he speaks with a very Scottish kind of accent. Like, I'm going to do it very horrible.
Do it.
Right?
Bang it up. Go ahead.
Okay. You're a wizard, Harry. That kind of, he
great.
goes like, you're
That was
instead
great.
of your. Like,
Let me get a like for that impression there.
okay, whatever. Like, people usually say your, and then writers will say Y-O-U-R. But with him, he says your instead of your. So
Right.
J.K. Rowling writes it as Y-E-R. I don't like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I don't like her. She's a horrible person, truly.
Turned into a hate video.
I like the books, but I don't like her. That's
Okay.
how that works. Anyways, yeah. So
Yeah. So all in all, the series isn't great.
it really is.
It was a struggle to get through. But if it is your style, if you're going for can I say a noir?
Yeah.
if you looking for a
more proper kind of talking thing,
mystery,
yeah.
I mean, then this is up your alley.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
totally up your alley.
For us personally,
yeah, for me personally, no. Bad Idea is still doing great things. They got some great comics.
Pirate Queen is one of them.
Pirate Queen is one of them. But let's do really briefly. At the end of these issues, there were short stories, you know what? The short stories outshined the book itself. They did. Yeah. They outshined the book itself.
I may have not read the actual comic, but I did read the short stories.
Okay. Now my favorite one was the guy with the radio.
Really?
You didn't like that one? So
I like that one.
He worked for this company. I can't remember the name of the company. It was a really long, strange name. But he worked for this company, and they had alien technology.
No, they fired him. It was like a workshop, like junkyard kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he got fired, but he went back and he stole a radio.
He
thought the radio was nothing. Turns out that
it broadcasts, but it broadcasts from the future.
1 year into the future.
1 year into the future.
So he uses that to become famous.
No, not famous. Rich.
Rich and famous.
Rich and famous. So he uses it to buy and sell stocks. Mm-hmm. And he becomes filthy rich. And by the time of the end of the short story, they come for him.
Yeah, they come for him, and he's like, well.
But you see, he knew they were coming from the broadcast.
Yeah,
from the broadcast, he knew they were coming for him. So he left the radio.
He put the radio in like a kind of safe kind of area
and gave it to somebody who's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be going to prison for 5 years, and I'm aware of this. So I want you to hold on to this until I get out."
Right. And then
they arrest him, and they're like, "Oh, where's the box?" And he's like, he has this fake box with him, and he breaks it and acts like he breaks it, but he doesn't break it. Right. It wasn't the real box.
My favorite one was from the third one, and it was about these two kids with chronic alcoholic parents.
Right.
And they were really, really close. It was a girl and a boy.
And they called their parents monsters.
They called their parents monsters because they were really bad at parenting.
And they were alcoholics.
Yeah, and then at some point, the boy turns into a giant bug-looking thing.
Insect
like
or
a giant
bug or something.
Insect demon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the sister still takes care of him.
She takes care of him.
She
treats him like, this is my brother. This is my blood. We're close. I love him.
Right, and he ends up killing this guy that kept forcing himself on her, and she's okay.
She ends up trying to live a normal life, and she goes on a date.
She does live a normal life.
Yeah, I mean, she does.
She goes on a date with this guy, then he
turns out to be a real dick.
Right, then he
tries to force himself on her.
Right, and the brother apparently followed her
and having that shit.
Kills him,
murders him.
And then she's like, whatever.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, it was a great short story. It was good.
Honestly, I think there was a deeper meaning to it. And
I'm pretty sure there was.
I'm going to go on a little small rant, okay? And then we're going to wrap it up. So basically, at the end, I think you noticed that she had a Medusa shadow.
At the end, when she was sitting down in the diner.
And what I think this was kind of hinting at was generational trauma with the whole parents are alcoholics. It traumatizes the kids and they become somewhat monsters because of the trauma that they have to hold from their parents.
I think for them though, it manifested physically. Yeah.
Because of how they used to call their parents monsters.
Yeah. It was great.
It was really good.
These short stories remind me of the Twilight Zone and them old creep show feel to it. Yeah. They're really good, and I love them. And to be honest with you, the best thing about these comics here with the lot are the short stories in the back. Yeah. So if you're gonna pick up the lot, pick them up just for the fact that you want to read these short stories in the back.
Pick it up because you like it, and even if you do pick it up because you don't like it,
I would really suggest that before Bad Idea decides to close their doors, that they do a comic with an anthology of all these short stories. So you can buy one comic with all these short stories in it. Cool. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Anyways,
thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying these comics with us. Remember to collect them all or die trying. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me here. Hit a like. Subscribe. Hit the bell so you always know when we do a video, and come and join us and have some fun. I have some fun. And next time we're going to hit you with some more comics, and we're going to do another unboxing. See you later. See you soon. Before I go, Before I go, I always got to give a shout out to my man Frank Castle, Coffee and a Comic. He's majority where I get my comics from. So hit up Coffee and a Comic. Check them out. Start a pull list. I'm part of a book club that we do every month. Join us at the book club, and you can definitely get a discount on that book that we're gonna do for that month from Coffee and a Comic. So check him out. Check his website. Give him a follow on Instagram as well. coffeeandacomic.com. Coffee and a Comic on Instagram. Shout out to Apollo City Comics podcast. Peace out.
Yay, bye.